Hello, my chaotic chompers. Welcome to the first episode of my chaotic podcast. Today we will be doing a Reddit real horror story from Toilet Dweller 69. And the title is My Best Friend Turned Into a Demon. Me and my friend both have OSDD, a disorder that splits the brain into different alters and identities to make it function better or cope with trauma. But different alters aren't always exactly the most normal. We were on holidays at a nice cottage for Christmas, and all was going well, until it was after dinner and getting late. We were getting ready for bed, and my friend had to use the toilet. They walked out pretty chill, but when they came back, they were crawling on all fours. I thought that they were playing a prank on me or something, as they were laughing a lot. The laughter turned into wheezes and groans of what sounded like agony and terror. I then knew something was definitely not right, and this was not my friend or the main alter of their system I was besties with. I thought about everyone in their system, but no one would act like this. Perhaps a new alter had split? I turned the light on, but it started screaming in a way that made my blood curdle. Lights off then? The screaming quieted down after the lights were off, and I sat back on my bed and watched. I asked if anyone else could hear me in there, and pleased for the love of God to send a different altar out to the front. Watching from my bed, the dark figure in the unlit room crawled around while growling and occasionally letting out a choked-up wheeze. It was walking around in circles and snarling like a rabid dog. It wasn't necessarily snarling at me, though, more like a dying wounded animal. It started to chew on the bedpost of my friend's bed. But as we were only renting this cottage, I would not like to explain to the owner why the beds are chewed up. So I threw a packet of biscuits that we were eating towards it, and it tried to eat it, packet and all at first, until it worked out how to open it. It ate a few, then nudged the remaining ones in the packet towards me with its head. I have seen some very weird shit in my lifetime, but seeing my friend's disfigured shape in the dark crawling around, snarling and nudging biscuits towards me was certainly new. A bit later, I tried to drink out of a water bottle and spit some on the floor. I again didn't want any damage to occur to the property, so I scolded it. It seemed to feel bad. Later, I ended up spilling some water on myself, and it watched me clean it up with a towel. It then grabbed a towel and tried to clean up the spillage it made earlier. So it was certainly not hostile to me, but I still felt very uncomfortable. I am also schizophrenic, so seeing this is whole person crawling around, growling at the end of my bed, triggered me into a small episode. I was hit with an adrenaline rush, and my brain was trying to send out protective alters from the stress. I was also considering knocking it out and seeing if someone else would front when it woke up, or just locking it outside. But again, my friend and the rest of their system was still in there, so I couldn't risk it running off. Over an hour passed. It had certainly fallen asleep on the cold wooden floor. While I was still too on edge to sleep, eventually it stood up. Since when could this thing stand? Then it spoke. All right, my friend was back. We talked about what happened, ended up laughing about it, despite it being slightly traumatic. Apparently that thing looks like a weird rabid demon dog inside the headspace, and is now banned from fronting. My friend gave me full permission to post this, and wow, that was certainly quite the experience. Ooh. Do any of you guys have something like that, or experience anything like that? please let me know. Let's see. Also, if anyone wants to, wants me to share any of their horror stories, please DM me on Twitter or Instagram, and I would really like to read it. Okay, this next story is posted by Chaos Arts and it's called Poltergeist Haunting. For privacy reasons, I'll just say my name is C, and I currently live with my mom and stepdad now. For some backstory, my mom and stepdad moved into this house at the start of the year, and I've only started living with them since December 1st. So I am quite new to the haunting, but apparently it's been going on for months. It ranges from keys going missing, my mom's work boots, yes, only one of her boots, being cleaned even when she and my stepdad swear that they haven't done anything to it, to my cat acting extremely weird, just staring and meowing at literally nothing. Like the other day, she just sat on the stairs refusing to move from that spot. But the most recent incidents have occurred this week, like a night or two ago. My aircon somehow went from 25 to 18 without any of us touching it. But the weirdest thing of all was when I heard it. I really did. I was sitting in my room, headphones on, not listening to music or talking to anyone when I heard a voice mumble something. I took off my headphones, thinking it was my mom, but when I checked outside my door, nobody was there. It really freaked me out. So I went back to my room and started listening to my music. The next morning, my mom called me out to talk about it. We figured that my mom and David didn't get as many instances with the entity because of my mom's shrine downstairs. My mom is pretty spiritual, which is where they slept. We started planning to move some sage upstairs, but the weird thing is I'm actively opposed against the idea. I like the entity and it doesn't scare me like it scares my family. It feels comforting, and if I had to describe the presence, I would say it gives the presence of a young girl around my age, so teen years. I really need answers about the spirit. Why does her presence not scare me? Usually I'm a very paranormal person. I've never met a young girl around my age who has passed away, so it can't be a familiar person. Whew. Okay. Now, to give some personal insight, for me anyway, I have dealt with so many different paranormal experiences, from shadow people with red eyes to knocking, clawing, hearing footsteps, to most recently a almost armless, legless, faceless entity in my closet. So let's just say I like to keep things around. Like, I'm not really a religious person, but I am very spiritual. So I tend to get incense and things that I know will help protect my room, along with, my family upstairs, especially when they're sleeping. And I try to keep my door open if I'm burning an incense, so the smell goes downstairs, just to be on the safe side. Because recently, one of our dogs have been acting really weird. Not like, oh, that's just a normal dog thing. No, like staring off into space or following something with its eyes. But that's just my personal experience. If you want, I could tell a personal horror story of mine during the next episode. Until then, have a great day or have a good night and stay chaotic. Peace out.